Well, folks, it looks like we are back with another discussion on something that has been similarly happening across multiple countries, multiple platforms. Why is Nepal angry and suddenly banned YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, and 23 other major platforms? The Nepal government has directed ISPs to restrict access to 26 social media platforms, prompting criticism from civil society over press freedom. This right here sounds very similar to what has been going on at the UK, what has been going on in Australia, and what's been going on across multiple platforms. And oh boy howdy, I'm ready to rip-roar in this one. It basically sounds like more censorship and more dystopian bullshit that is spreading like a damn virus. And oh boy howdy, I'm ready to rip into this one. Nepal has directed internet service providers to block access to several major social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X, after the companies failed to comply with new local registration requirements. The order has raised concerns about censorship and press freedom in the country. Now, you absolutely gotta know and gotta figure out the fact that this right here is nothing more than a different variation of the whole situation with the Online Censorship Act, the Online Safety Act. I don't know where censorship came from. Damn, must have been a accidental on-purpose Freudian slip. Okay, either way, this here sounds very similar to what's been going on in the UK. Point blank, period, bottom line. But let's keep going here. On Thursday, the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology asked the Nepal Telecommunications Authority to instruct service providers to restrict access to 26 platforms. The list includes Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, YouTube, X, Discord, Reddit, WeChat, and Snapchat. The government had earlier given foreign platforms 7 days to register their operations in Nepal and appoint a local contact person, but many did not comply. And rightfully so. Why in the fuck would you want to comply with that type of nonsense? Like, we know full well that this right here has absolutely nothing to do with protecting the people or protecting the kids. This right here is all about censorship. This right here is all about control, and you honestly cannot convince me otherwise, especially with what's been going on recently to multiple countries, to multiple platforms. The government move follows a Supreme Court ruling last month that upheld the requirement for social media platforms to register locally as a way to address misinformation. However, the court did not explicitly call for a ban. It only directed the government to create legal arrangements within the law. Okay, so if they didn't explicitly state for a ban, then them turning around and banning multiple platforms, don't you think that maybe, just maybe, that they are overstepping their boundaries just on that premise alone? Like, why are we banning shit if the Supreme Court didn't explicitly say to ban it? According to the Nepal Telecommunications Authority, internet penetration in the country is above 90%. Figures from StatCounter suggest that Facebook is the most used social media platform in Nepal with 87% share, followed by X at 6% and YouTube at 5%. Civil society groups and media organizations have criticized the restrictions, and rightfully so. Keep up with those criticisms too, by the way. The Committee to Protect Journalists said the decision would hinder journalists' ability to report and limit people's access to information. The Federation of Nepali Journalists also described the measure as undermining citizens' right to information. Bing fuckio. You see what I mean by control? It isn't just controlling what people do online, it's also controlling and curating certain information to push narratives rather than showing the entire situation and all sides of the story in any given situation. Sounds like another recipe for trying to find ways to have narratives being spread without it being challenged. Access Now, a global digital rights group, said the block was troubling and compared it to censorship practices in China. Raman Jit Singh Chima, Asia Pacific Policy Director at the organization, said Nepal should publish blocking orders and restore access while shifting to transparent and consultative legislation. And that's also another big factor too, would be transparency. If you're not transparent with your people, well, how do you expect for them to trust you in the first place? He added that the government's order gives authorities sweeping powers to suspend services and pressure companies to remove lawful content, which could result in overblocking. And it could also result in false and counterfeit narratives being spread, tricking people into thinking one thing when it may or may not be the reality of the actual situation. Communication and Information Technology Minister Prithvi Subba Gurung, I know I said that wrong, said platforms had been given ample time to register but failed to do so despite repeated reminders. Meta, Google, and Snap did not respond to requests for comment. And why should they, honestly? It's bullshit, plain and simple. The Ministry of Communication and Information Technology said access would be restored once platforms register in Nepal. TikTok and Viber remain unaffected, as both services have already completed the registration process. And all I can say to those two platforms is good luck. You guys are probably going to be hella censored, if you know what I mean. The decision comes as Nepal debates a proposed social media bill that could introduce fines and imprisonment for content deemed against national interest. The bill has drawn criticism from journalists, organizations who argue it threatens press freedom and digital expression. The government maintains it does not intend to restrict free speech. 1,000,000% I call bullshit on that. And not just bullshit, but fucking authoritarian as well. You dare make threats of fines and imprisonment when it comes to content that is deemed against national interest? Well, how about you go over some examples? Because that right there sounds pretty vague. In translation, it sounds like national interest more or less sounds like content that would go against our narratives that we're trying to spin on our citizens. Like, this is just absolute fucking lunacy. Like, to put it very bluntly and simply. Like, are you joking me with this? Like, who's gonna be next? Which country is going to be infested with this type of virus bullshit here? We got the UK dealing with this type of nonsense. We got Australia dealing with this type of nonsense. Now Nepal? Who else is going to be next? Like, the citizens of these countries that are imposing these type of nonsensical laws and regulations, they need to stand up against this bullshit, because plain and simple, it is not right in the slightest. This is not about protecting kids. This is not about protecting anybody other than your fucking selves and your bullshit slanted narratives that you want to try and push on people. This has absolutely nothing to do with protecting innocent lives. This is about control, censorship, and surveillance. I've said it time and time again, and I'm gonna say that again. But man, what an absolutely wild time that we are living in. What do you guys think about this? Leave your thoughts and your opinions in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and take some damn Tylenol, because this just gave me a fucking headache. Have yourself a damn good one, guys. I'll see you in the next video.